What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to episode 29 of The Knife Guy. That's right, we're almost to 30 episodes of this series. That's crazy. If you are new to my channel, or you're new to this series, or you have no idea, what you're looking at because you just came out of some weird corner of the internet, I am a knife guy. I'm a knife enthusiast, knife collector, knife user, knife enjoyer of many different sorts. A lot of us are knife guys and gals who have arrived at the same level of being like ultra passionate about folding knives. But we all kind of take our own unique paths, even though, on those unique paths, we have similar experiences. Our paths intersect, and that's what this series is all about. I do it every Sunday. Those of you who have been watching my channel for a while know that sadly my Saturday series, The Quest for the Perfect Budget Knife, recently ended. If you've never checked out that series, it's an 11-part series. I think you'll find a lot of enjoyment watching it. It'll be up forever, so you guys can go back and watch it over and over again if you want to, but that series ended. But rest assured, the Knife Guy will always be here on Sundays. So today's topic, it's something that technically I talk about in every single episode. It's something that I talk about in every single upload that I do on this channel. At the time of this video, over 600 uploads. And I was thinking about this the other night. I was sitting and I guess you could call it philosophizing. There have been a few people who, have said things about this channel being a knife philosophy channel, and that's cool. I never really thought of it like that, but I think about this stuff so often that I suppose the way that I talk about a lot of these knives, is from a philosophical point of view, I guess. A lot of these knives are mine. A lot of them are my friends locally or people who have lent me knives, for review. And I like to lay them out and just sort of flip them while I talk, just to give you guys some entertainment. I know a lot of people like to watch this series and they like to do chores, or they're driving, or they just like the background noise, right? Or maybe you're just sitting around on a Saturday evening or Friday evening and you're just watching something. I totally get that. I like the laid-back nature of this series. But anyways, so I was thinking about this. Why do we like folding knives so much? I mean, and then people are like, that's stupid. That's a stupid question. Why do we like folding knives? Because they're cool. They cut, right? Yeah, they're cool. They cut. They're shiny. They're neat. But I mean, like, look at this. Look what we're looking at here. Like, in some sense, it's like this is a $600 to $700 knife. Right? And I get that. But then I'm like, wait a minute. This thing is $600 to $700. And other things that I like of the same nature are $40. Right? Overpriced, underpriced, market for it, not a market for it. Okay. What I mean though, like really brass tacks. What draws us to a knife? Well, it cuts. It's a tool that we use. It's a catalyst for convenience. We carry it with us, we cut, we move on. There's a lot of tools that you could carry with you that do different things. Flashlights, same kind of deal. People really get into that. Pry bars, more or less expensive, and people's infatuation with them has driven individual markets where we keep having more. I mean, I've seen $400 pry bars, $400 custom pry bars. That's funny. But I get it at the same time. A lot of people are just like, what? But it's like, why? There are certain things that are also tools of convenience, like screwdrivers. And I'm sure there's a very, very, very specific corner of the tool enthusiast world that, people are willing to spend $200, $300, $400 on a custom flathead screwdriver. I've never seen one, but maybe that's the case. I don't think it's nearly as prominent as folding knives. So for whatever reason, folding knives, in this corner, like if we're talking about small tools of convenience that you would either carry on your person or in your toolbox, right? There's a lot of more or less expensive stuff, stuff where like more of an artistic sense goes into it. The aesthetics become more and more and more important. The materials used in the creation of the thing, there's more exotic stuff and the price goes. So that's applied to a lot of different things, but folding knives seem to be the main focus. So what is it? What is it? What aura of interest surrounding folding knives, makes us so obsessed with them, right? You get on Instagram and you look at those pictures of pocket dumps, right? The guy's got they have their pry bar, and they got their flashlight, and they got their pen, and it's all color matching, and wow, you know. The one thing that's always in every single picture, I put my hinder up there, that's not what I meant to do. Every single picture is a pocket knife. Some images have just a knife and a pry bar, just a knife and a flashlight. I've never seen an EDC pocket dump image. I'm sure one exists out there, but I've never seen one where it's just all the other stuff and no knife. There's at least a slip joint in there. A lot of people will have 2 pocket knives on them. You know, we just did an episode yesterday justifying the backup knife, but there's at least one folding knife in there. So what is it? Okay, they cut. Is it the satisfaction of being able to cut? I think it's deeper than that. You know, I always say things like, listen, a knife is a tool first. Amidst all of its other, it could be a pry bar. In some situations, it could be a hammer. Not advised, but it could be, you know, and somewhere in there, it also can be a means of a catalyst for self-defense. But it's a far second. If at best that's second place to number 1 being tool, it's a far off second. But it is. And I think in the back of my mind, this is me just guessing. Maybe you guys are on board with this. Maybe a lot of people are like, duh. Like, this is obvious. You're talking about, this is stupid. We know this. In the back of my mind, I know that it is that. You know, it is dangerous. It's more dangerous than a pry bar. It's more dangerous than a flashlight, than a screwdriver, than a knuck. You know, I mean, a lot of people make arguments. Well, in a specific tactical situation, you might be at an advantage if you use, whatever. Save it. Don't care. That sounds mean and dismissive. I'm not trying to be. To get back on track here. That is part of it. Because it is a tool that has another level of, I mean, it's beautiful and it's amazing. It's simple, but at the same time, it's complicated. It's folding. It's on a pivot most of the time. Some knives are fixed, obviously, but in the case of a folding knife, it's on a pivot, right? And this level of, I think the level of respect that an object like this commands, because it is dangerous, because it requires an extra level of attention and care, corresponding attention to care, or care to attention, however you want to say that. The fact that it can be used as a means of self-defense, or some people an offensive situation. Definitely don't want to talk about that. The fact that fact, I think, creates the bigger draw. Most of us are like, no, they're tools, but we know, it's kind of a dangerous tool. Right? It's more dangerous than a screwdriver. So that emphasis, that focus, that obsession, back however long ago when bow and arrow didn't exist, and guns obviously didn't exist. I mean, it was basically just melee weapons. Well, we figured out pretty quickly that weapons with edged weapons or edged tools were extremely efficient, right? And I don't know. It would be interesting to find out at what point in history we started adding aesthetic features to our tools. I've seen pictures of like tomahawks, like old handmade tomahawks, Native American tomahawks, and they put feathers in where they tie the obsidian. Are the tomahawks or maybe just the arrowheads and the knives? But they used to use obsidian, and they would put feathers in them. So that was what is it? What's the word I'm trying? An ornament, I guess. Maybe it means different things, but it was an ornament. It didn't serve any functional purpose, but we started at some point to dress them up. And yeah, you could say we do that with a lot of different tools. Any tool, you go to Home Depot, a lot of times the color of the tool, those neon yellow, whatever tools are meant to attract your attention. At the same time, make the tool easy to find if you drop it somewhere. And that's a different aesthetic advantage. But what I'm saying is at some point we started to put aesthetic features on there. And then at some point it kept changing. And we started to really, like with, like swords that were designed as like dress, like the cavalry swords, they always had some crazy ornate design. Like the scabbard would be made out of some exotic, or high polished silver or metal or whatever. The blade would be polished. We became obsessed with putting these types, and that just added an exponential, change to our fascination with this stuff, this draw. And it's not just knives. The same could be said, about firearms or a number of different things, but in our specific part of the world where we're just talking about tools, right? You know, folding knives reign supreme. And it's like, why? Because they cut, because we have to be careful with them, because it makes us feel like we are a more expert tier of craftsman or survivalist or just person who is prepared than someone who does not have the object, right? I mean, it's that feeling of pride. I would be lying if I didn't say every time I put this XM in my pocket. You guys have seen that series. A lot of you have seen my Quest for the Perfect Folding Knife series, not budget knife. I have another one, an older one, Quest for the Perfect Folding Knife, and I crowned the XM18 3.5-inch Gen 6 slicer, stonewashed, full standard thickness, 165 thousandths with the titanium scale, textured as Excalibur. Why? Because I was so... I mean, the whole thing with the series is so many whys. Like, why? Why go down that? Why are you trying so hard to like find this thing? Because I'm obsessed with it. This obsession that's driven by all the things that I just talked about. I care so much about all the fine details, the mixture of utility and the aesthetics and the beauty, the draw that's specific to me. I don't know why it's so important, but I have this sense of, not only a sense of readiness and a sense of preparedness, but a sense of pride. Having something in my pocket that is amazing in its base form, but it's also been dressed up, and it's been, you know, it's this object that's like, it feels like me, you know? And I think a lot of that, I always talk about modularity. We're beings of like, we're selfish beings, right? We are, and I'm not just so you guys know, like, I don't want to pretend for a second like I'm like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to sound overly intelligent or brooding or deeper. No, I'm just saying what I think. I'm going to lose my train of thought while I'm talking about this. But we are selfish beings. We care. We want everything to be customized and tailored just for us, you know? And not everything, you know, not like I don't wear custom tailored suits because I don't care about that. But the things that you really, really care about, you want it just right for you. It's like the settings on your TV. You know, when you get a new TV, most of us calibrate the settings, get it just right, make it look just right for us. Then you argue with your significant other. No, that doesn't look natural. No, that's a natural skin tone. That's what that's supposed to look like. The shadows are too deep. No, that's what those are supposed to look like because the light, you know, we only care about how we see it. Most of us do. Some of us are more or less understanding. But we want these things to be for us. And so, you know, folding knives now, this fascination has caused the folding knife world to expand and expand and expand. And these companies have figured out, like, people like, a lot of people like this style, a lot of people like this style. Some people like more or less crazy. They like more or less color. And then we've got so many options. And it's just still, at some point, this is all going to level out, guys. But and what do I mean by level out is it's not going to keep, the folding knife world is not going to keep expanding like this forever, you know, but it is right now because, you know, it's our obsession is being fueled by all of these options, this feeling that we can get, you know, exactly what we want and the exact configuration I want. And then you have channels like mine who, like, you know, draw people in by talking about all the fine details and making people feel like, hey, it's totally okay to get to this. And it is. It's totally okay to be into it at this level. But, you know, the object itself is what's driving this. And it's so bizarre to me sometimes to sit back and think, like, it is just a cutting tool, right? But I like certain just cutting tools more than other cutting tools. You guys know I love budget knives. I love them so much. I dedicated that series to them, you know, and their base form, they cut. That's what they do. And I also like really, really expensive folding knives that have incredible action and have really unique blade shapes and features that don't exist on less expensive knives, but they're neat. It's just different levels of respect for different things. And I don't know, I mean, I could go on for 5 more minutes repeating exactly the same thing over and over and over again, but I'm aware of this. I'm aware of how bizarre this obsession is with such a simple object, and I intentionally, you know, or willingly allow the obsession to continue and burn and become more exponential, not just for the sake of the channel and entertaining you guys, but because I just like it. And I think the reason that I'm okay with it is because I've realized that every single living person on this planet has that same feeling about something. You know, I also have arguably a more powerful obsession with my family. I mean, most of us do. You know, I do care about my wife and kids and my family more than I do folding knives, but it's a different type of thing. It's different. That's love versus obsession, you know, or fascination. Yeah, it's interesting, but I'm aware of it. I'm okay with it because everybody has their thing. For some people, it's shoes. Some people, it's watches. Some people, it's cars. Some people, it's, you know, I would imagine the amount of money that the amount of expendable income you have will dictate exactly what your thing is. But it's completely okay. Whatever our base reason is, everybody's reason is somewhat the same, but also somewhat completely customized to them. You know, it's unique to that person, their experience with folding knives as they grew up. But whatever it is, it's okay. You know, from my perspective, as long as you're using it as a tool, it's perfectly okay because everybody has this obsession with different things, you know? And so sometimes the why is interesting and sometimes it's like, well, the why doesn't really matter. You know, if it brings us joy, that's what's important, you know, is that it brings us joy. This was kind of a foggy, wishy-washy episode. I thought it was so bizarre when I was sitting there thinking about like, why folding knives? Why not screwdrivers? Why not, you know, wrenches? Why not so many of these other tools? And, you know, why is the emphasis always put on folding knives? I think just simply because it is an object that has a lot of other potential different types of feelings surrounding it by different people. I mean, it's also a polarizing object. That's another thing is sometimes when a certain population directly opposes an object for, you know, a certain opinion, other people are like, well, I like it because you don't like it. You know, because you think it's this, I'm going to play devil's advocate. And sometimes it's not 100% that. Some people, I mean, like I get immediately defensive when someone's like, you know, those are dangerous. And that illogical part of my brain just wants to jump on them and be like, you're wrong and you're uneducated and you don't understand. But you know, it's like that immediate response to something that you enjoy when somebody who doesn't understand the object, it makes me like it even more because they don't understand. I mean, stuff like that. You know, anything that's polarizing, a lot of attention's on it. There's a lot of different opinions on it, people feeling different ways, using them for different things. You know, a lot of that has to do with it. It's not just simply because it cuts, because it's shiny. You know, there's a lot of shiny things in the world that people love for different reasons, but it's just, there's so many different reasons surrounding folding knives and our obsessions with them. I think it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, if any of you who care to elaborate on that down in the comment section, I'm sure a lot of you could get a lot more complicated with it, and I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on that. But I thought this might be somewhat entertaining, something you guys might want to listen to or enjoy listening to on a Sunday. So anyways, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this Metal Complex logo right here and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.